read some other stuff. So since it's Mother's Day, I decided to read stuff that has mothers in it. So this is just an excerpt, this first piece from, I think it takes place in the 90s sometime. And the full piece has all this stuff about Henry Darger and my childhood, but this is just the LA area section. So, spending the weekend with Raymond Pettibone and his mother. In the living room at Hermosa Beach, a cat sat on a table. I bent down to pet it. Hi, kitty. It bit my arm, not out of a little love bite, but viciously. Fortunately, I was wearing a jacket. When I fled to the kitchen, Raymond gave this embarrassed, not again sigh. It bit you? Damn. The cat, he explained, used to belong to a Brazilian movie star. His brother's girlfriend rescued it from veterinary death row, where it was being used as a blood donor for better socialized pets. The cat clawed the star's face so badly she had to have plastic surgery. I was spending the weekend with Raymond and his mother in their 2-story stucco house. Also staying there were Raymond's brother and his girlfriend and some other guy. I never figured out who the other guy was, but he was in trouble. I got that much. I gathered that people were always coming and going. I slept in Raymond's studio in a cot with racks of his drawings built so low above me I could barely sit up. I enjoyed being stacked beneath all this art. Imagine the papers flapping and fluttering, navigating my dreams. Raymond showered me with money. So much money I finally barked, Raymond, stop trying to buy love. But the money meant so little to him. He had pockets full of it. I did take some. I like money. We talked endlessly over martinis, brunches, dinners, red wine. Gratuitous sex and violence, I remember him saying, I have no problem with that. Raymond's mother told me grisly stories of the Russian invasion of Estonia, how she fled in a German ship as the Russians opened fire. She's still beautiful, looks 20 years younger than her 80-some years, eats health foods and jogs every morning, and such a keen mind. She told me about Raymond's ancestors, his childhood. His IQ score so high, the school insisted on a second testing. I felt comfortable there with Raymond and his mother. Not like a guest, more like I was absorbed. Their limitless generosity was beautiful, but rather startling. Raymond's mother also told me his faults, all of them, as if she were trying to win me over, to have me all to herself. Or maybe she was trying to scare me away. I don't know. I felt like if I wanted to, and part of me did want to, I could stay there forever. Eventually people might complain, might say I was bad news, dangerous, but as with the psychopathic cat, nobody would bother to oust me. The cat was like fate, who has the momentum. Okay. And then, yeah. So this is new, and it's for a UK magazine, and the assignment was to write about air. Doorstay blows against. After our first year of college, Nance and I went home for summer break. Northern Indiana was sweltering and boring. The air so polluted from steel mills and oil refineries, just breathing it was said to be the equivalent of smoking 7 cigarettes a day. My mother, of course, was determined to resume her default mode of surveillance and control. I overheard her saying to her best friend Stella, I never should have let her go away. She's changed. Nance and I met in kindergarten and have been lovers forever. She never got along with her sister, who was a couple years younger. But out of desperation, we started hanging out with Sharon and her boyfriend, John. We'd drive around aimlessly in John's messy car, invariably ending up at a diner where we'd smoke meth balls over French fries and Cokes. Once when Sharon set her long hair using empty frozen orange juice cans as rollers. In order to dry her hair quickly, we zoomed down Interstate 8094 with the windows rolled down, the wind whipping our cheeks pink. Some nights when Nance and I got off work from our shitty part-time restaurant jobs, the four of us would end up at Lake Michigan and, still wearing our greasy uniforms, walk into the moonlit water and shriek. Mostly we get stoned and stay up all night blasting the stereo, sprawled across Sharon's bed, shouting over the music. Nance's parents were deaf, so we could make as much noise as we wanted to. When we grew tired of the tinny stereo, we'd watch the vintage movie channel. Each night it was either a Western, a gangster film, or something starring Doris Day. We loved Marlene Dietrich in Destry Rides Again. He would rather be cheated on me than married to you, we'd say to one another in bad German accents. But we loved Doris Day more. She's going to do her mad, we'd scream. And whoever had wandered into the kitchen or bathroom would dash back to witness Doris Day put her hands on her hips, scrunch her face, exhale a puff of rage that made her bangs flutter and part. We blew our own bangs in the air, even if we didn't have any, and bounced around the plastic cover living room furniture, laughing our asses off. Okay. The air thick with the muck of 20th century sexism, Doris Day clicks her heels down a Manhattan sidewalk. All those lying bastards pretending to be someone else. Men treat her like a dumb cunt. She opens her mouth wide and bellows, "Ooh!" She steps up to a curb holding a newspaper above her head. When Cary Grant's limo drives through a puddle, splashing grime all over her job interview outfit, Doris shrieks, then forms her mouth into a tense rectangle, ejects a guttural snarl, stoops down, emits an ooh, sways backwards, stretches open her mouth, spews a gust so powerful her body rebounds forward. Nance's mother enters the bedroom unannounced. Sharon sticks the joint we were smoking out of sight along the far side of the bed. Their mother points to her nose. Then she places her hands in front of her, palms up, fingers spread, hunches her shoulders, juts her head, scoops her hands slightly forward and to the sides while making a what the fuck face. Nance, all innocence, spells out incense with her fingers. Nance has been translating for her parents since grade school, haggling with insurance salesmen, etc. She was raised with far too much power for a child. Once when she was little and pissed off, she took a chair and banged a wall until it made a hole in the plaster. Then she told her parents that Sharon did it and stood there and watched them spank her. For me, it was the opposite. If I complained about my parents' fucked up behavior, I was punished. So I pouted dramatically. My mother would mock me. If your lower lip drops down any further, she'd say, you're going to step on it. Then she'd smirk at how witty she was. Doris is my birth name, and I was blonde with freckles. I hated the association. Doris sucks up all the air in the room, then expels it in an explosion. From her round mouth, she emits a high-pitched ooh, 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 like a feral little beast. How could you do this to me? Doris is locked out of her house, her arms full of groceries, her housecoat caught in the door. Breakables tumbling to the sidewalk make a god-awful mess. Freckled mouth clenched shut. Air sizzles out through her tight lip slit. Air is not empty. It is a field, a matrix Doris gesticulates through. Oof. Doris learns she's been duped. She makes a little whimper, forms her mouth into an O. She rolls her head from side to side, bugs her eyes. She stares into the abyss, and the abyss stares back at her. Ooh, 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 ooh. From her mouth gushes a vortex around which her body whips and jerks and sways. We're on acid. Earlier that day, John said we couldn't do it if we had to listen to Sharon's crappy stereo. So he used his credit card to buy a better one, which we plan to return tomorrow. Through the excellent speakers, Rod Stewart is screeching, "Every picture tells a story, don't it?" over and over, which is provoking so much pleasure it's scaring us, like it's never going to end. Every picture tells a story, don't it? Every picture. And John is hyperventilating, and Nance is biting her lower lip and holding her breath like she does right before she comes. And the four of us feel way too much for Sharon's double bed with its fluttering tufts of pink chenille. Doris puckers her mouth, shakes her head, crosses her eyes. If her lips drops down any further, she's going to step on it. Men like piranhas circle not only her virtue, but her agency as well. She gets a plan, squints, emits a sexy ooh. Doris huffs and puffs and blows down the straw house of patriarchy. The effect is homeopathic, and within the philanderer's hairy chest, a desire to protect her purity sprouts. When Rock Hudson picks her up against her will, she flaps her legs in the air, frantic as a hooked fish. Doris is going to do her mad. We bend over, clutch our guts, and from our gaping mouths, spittle flies through the air, glistening little spores of love. Like a wind spirit at the edge of a map, Doris bulges her cheeks huge, purses her lips, and whooshes the world into motion. Thank you.